be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That's
ADR Networks presenta Las opiniones expresadas en este programa son responsabilidad exclusiva de quienes las emiten y no representan necesariamente el pensamiento o alguna posición oficial de este medio de comunicación. ADR Networks presenta.
This is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch.
And this is...
Foreign Show! On the Foreign Show.
Yes, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to That Foreign Show. I'm Isaac Rakesh.
I'm Celestine Angel, and we are here on
ADR Networks, activating your senses.
So,
All right.
yeah, I mean, I guess you realize that we have to say activating your senses. We sign in and sign up, right? Because it's the ADR
Slogan.
Slogan.
It's part of the family slogan thing, so we kind of just go along with it, yeah. So
I hope we are activating your senses.
that's what we aim to do. Yes.
Okay.
And we're gonna kick things off today on the insider segment. We're gonna do something a bit different, right?
Yeah, we're recommending something as per usual, but we're gonna do it like a review style. So yesterday we tried laundromat for the first time, self-service everything. Usually we send it to a laundry.
A person,
Yeah, it's like owned by a family, and they are really, really nice people. They take care of our clothes really well. But like the new Lava Uno,
we found another place. So it
well,
kind of made an impression, right? The place, and so that's why we kind of choosing to actually review the place.
yeah, it looked fun, so we decided to try it out. I mean, all the machines,
There you go.
so high quality. Here we are. So this is Lava Uno. It's a franchise, which we like because like everything it has its structure.
Yeah.
And it's like seriously. So yesterday we tried it for the first time. We used 20-kilo load, like we put like a shitload of clothes in, and so it was really easy. You just put the clothes in, you wait, like they have Wi-Fi there, you sit there and chill.
There you go. Check it out. So
Yeah, and the machines are like quality, industrial strength.
yes. So the main thing is that it's you kind of have control. You can chill while your clothes are being washed and dried. So we like the fact that it's clean. You can get snacks. There's a workstation there. You can actually do your work. You can hook up with the Wi-Fi and stuff.
Yeah,
And they got branches, I believe, all over the place.
it's very comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you have the time, it's not much time as well. It's like the good part about it is, like, time-wise, is you can get your clothes in an hour, less than an hour.
Right?
And like, if you go to a laundry service, you have to wait for at least a day.
Yes.
But this one is like, if you want something, you get it immediately. You just need to sit there. So the only time issue is that you have to wait there for your clothes. But it's really fast, and you can do work,
Yeah.
or read or something while waiting. And we find it convenient for us. If you have a Lava Uno near your place, go try it out because it's fun. Yeah.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And that your experience at Lava.
Yeah. Basically, I think that we will be continuing to use their services because, like, also, like, come on, it's so cheap.
Yeah. So we did a breakdown kind of, for the prices that we used to pay for our usual load where the people used to come and collect it versus this kind of DIY thing where you get to kind of, there's different options. Like there's a 20-kilo machine, there's a 28-kilo machine, smaller loads and everything, so you can actually control it. And yeah, so we kind of like that now. You know? Sometimes you just got a small bunch of clothes that you want to get washed.
There's an advantage so you
Mm-hmm.
can get that done,
Can get that done.
wash and dry. And usually we send our laundry in, and it's like a few hundred pesos for let's say we have 15 kilos. It's nearly 400 pesos, 500 pesos, something like that.
Yes.
So like this is very good for us because we can basically get everything done much cheaper. Yeah.
So a big shout out to
review.
Lava Uno. All right, so let's try something. Their Instagram page is, I think they just started it or something. You know, it's just like a few followers. So if you like their stuff, go follow them. All right, and
We are not at all like they are not paying us for this.
yes, they're not.
We're not getting anything out of it. We are just giving our honest
Yes.
review. Yeah.
And the same goes for all of the other stuff that we review or that we recommend during our insider segment.
Right. But we
Uh,
are looking for sponsors. If anyone's interested to sponsor us, to join our team, any interesting collaborations will also be cool. Yeah.
Yes, of course, we're always looking for partners, and we have done some stuff with some of our previous guests, you know, and also some of the insider segment recommendations. Of course, they are our live shows. So yes, we do benefit in that way, and we do benefit with the collaborations that we do. But now we just kind of just want to remind you guys that the stuff that we are recommending today, and most of the time, it's because we want to, all right? So it's actually you can trust our recommendations, all right?
Yeah.
Yes, the show.
Yeah. So like well we are now in our second season. We started off we had a lot of like different guests that came on. And this year this season we are going to invite quite a few of them back. We are going to get updates.
Yes.
And today we are going to talk to a new friend. We really love her. She's such a bubbly personality, and she's from America, but she's Vietnamese, I think, first generation. So
Yes, sure. Big shout out to Jennifer Lee. She's probably backstage listening to this.
I wonder if we pronounce it as Lei or Lee because it's like just one E, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, she's already backstage, so we can call her on.
And we're gonna get into a really interesting subject. Hello.
Hi guys, so good to see you.
Yo.
Hello.
Thanks for having me on the show. I feel like
Yes,
a celebrity on Ellen. Like,
yes.
thanks for having me, guys. Hi.
I was-
The audience is applauding.
There you go. That's the vibes. That's the vibes. We're just telling the people, getting into our topic that we want to get into today.
Yeah,
Right?
like so first we were wondering if your surname is pronounced as Le or Lee.
Yeah, good question. It's Le, L-E. So it's a Vietnamese
Le.
last name. Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I remember in fourth grade, I had a substitute teacher who was like, I've never seen that last name before. I only seen L-E-E. And it made me like so insecure because I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh
Right,
my
it's
God.
unique.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, but if you
Yeah.
go in the Viet community, everyone has that last name, so it's not that unique.
Oh really? So far we've only known Nguyen's. Like it's making me feel like all Vietnamese people are only Nguyen's, you know, like
Yeah, Nguyen
Yeah.
is definitely the number one most common. You're right. My last name's
That
not
one
as
is the most common. Yeah.
It's like the
Right.
Kim for Koreans. Yeah.
oh yeah.
What's interesting, because your name, there's a Punjabi word. I think it's the same pronunciation. Le. You know. And yeah, that word is kind of just like, you know, it's kind of like it's one of those words that you can substitute it, or people use it in, you know, many different ways and stuff. But I think it means there you go, like le, le. So
Like there.
yeah,
Like,
there, yeah.
Well, so I mean, you say that the Vietnamese community in America. So is there like a big community there?
Yeah, at least in Southern California, I live in Orange County. There's a huge Vietnamese population, so a lot of them came like right after the Vietnam American War. So
Mm.
yeah.
It's funny, right? I mean, because the wars between the two countries, but then a lot of Vietnamese went over, so I've always wondered about that.
It was like a lot of them were refugees after the war because, like, remember America was like technically fighting for the South. So when they left, they allowed a lot of refugees to come at the time. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting that my generation, all of us, all our parents are like from Vietnam and have accents, and then all of us are like born here. So we're like first generation or
Yeah.
second or 1st.
So, I mean, do you have a lot of your other relatives in America as well? Like your cousins?
Yeah,
They,
I'm really
they all
lucky
moved.
that all my aunts and uncles were able to come to the US. So most of my cousins are in NorCal, SoCal, Florida, Canada, and like I just have some older aunts and uncles back in Vietnam.
That's cool. That's cool.
Wow.
So most of your tribe is like here together with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't
That's
speak
cool.
Vietnamese, right?
I do, just like really
You
badly, and I am learning. I have a teacher online.
Wow. So, I mean, if you're learning, then you can practice with your relatives. It's
I
a
can. It's
weird.
just like
Mm.
with my I practice mostly with my grandmother. My like mom and dad mostly speak English. So when I was little, they always spoke Vietnamese to me. And so when I went to preschool, they were like, "Oh my God, she doesn't know how to speak
Mm.
English." So they started practicing English at home. But because my parents are really good at English, then we ended up just kept speaking English, and then they forgot to switch
Okay.
back to Viet. But like
Right.
Right.
people whose parents don't speak English well, they're really good at their home language. So I'm kind of jealous
Mhm.
of them. So for me, I speak to Vietnamese and my mom, but I'm sorry, my grandma, but it's mostly like Vietglish. It's like a combination of both.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
And so your grandma kind of she kind of appreciates the English thing also. She trying to step up her English thing. So
I
she
think
kind
it'd
of
probably be better if I could speak better Vietnamese. But that's why I
yeah.
hired the tutor because I was like, I need to know like the grammar. I need to know why. Like, there's just a couple words here and there that I know from just childhood, but I need to like learn it like a real class. So I think that's been helpful.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the topic of today's episode.
Yes. Let's do
We
it.
are very interested to know about your experience being offline and traveling
Oh
in
yeah.
Mexico. Like, how
Yeah.
has that
First, why don't
been?
you tell us a bit about where that's coming from? Is it a philosophy that
Like,
you
you don't
kind
want
of
to be addicted to, you don't want to be so engaged.
Yeah, it happened almost like exactly a year ago now, like last March. There was just one day where I was scrolling so much on Instagram Reels, like all those videos. And at this point, I'd already deleted TikTok because I was so addicted to it. I would spend like hours on it. It's like watching a movie that
okay.
never ends, right? So once
Right.
I
Right.
deleted TikTok, and then I was like, oh my God, Instagram Reels is like just as addicting. I didn't realize that. So yeah, there was just one day where I like couldn't get off it, and I had a really big project at work. So I decided to that day for the first time in my life, let me delete Instagram just for like today so I can like focus on this project. And in my head, I thought that I would be like in agony. Like I'd be like, oh my God, I need to re-download Instagram. So I just assumed I would re-download it. But 2 days had passed and like I was working and like I was like, wait, I don't have the need to re-download it. Like I really thought I would have that need, but I never did. So I was like, wait, let me just like continue living this life and one day when I really want Instagram back, I'm sure I'll re-download it. But it never happened. So I realized, wait, it's
Right.
actually really much easier to disconnect than we think. I think we think that everyone's on Instagram, that all my friends are on Instagram, so I can't leave. I have to be where everyone is. But like to be honest, when you turn it off, it's as if it doesn't exist. So like it doesn't really bother me anymore. And for me,
Mhm.
I've been on Instagram since 2011 or 12. I was one of the first generations to be on it. So
Right.
I remember before it was popular. I remember when it got really popular, like the peak in high school. And then now everyone's on it. So I've been on it for more than 10 years. And I think that was like kind of a scary thought. Am I gonna be 80 years old and still posting my on my story? Like, guys, so um
No, but I think you're touching on very a few different really interesting topics here. Like there's of course the part of protecting your energy, which I think is what you're trying to focus on at that point, right? Like protecting your energy and just doing what you want to do when you want to do it, right? And
yeah.
so what happened next?
Yeah. So okay, so I got off Instagram, and at this point now, I only now I'm like kind of into YouTube Reels, but not as much. So I decided to keep YouTube
Okay.
Shorts because can't live without YouTube, and also I'm not as addicted to it. So it's only like a couple minutes here and there every day. Anyways, but for
Mm.
Instagram, yeah, some of the effects I noticed right away is like right before I quit, I think I was at like my worst in terms of like posting everything about my life. I had just gotten to this point where like you get dopamine and you get external validation when you post a story, right? So if I post a story of me going to a rooftop bar or like a really nice
Right.
restaurant, you think you're enjoying it and you think that posting doesn't affect it, but subconsciously you're training your brain to be like, oh, next time I go to a cool event, I should post it because then people will like it or people will comment and say like, wow, I'm so jealous of you. And then that gives you like external validation. So I started to
Right.
realize like I was getting kind of addicted to like showing off my life. And then it got to a point where it's like, why do I need to show these 200 people where I'm at? Like, why do they need to know I'm here? So when I went to Coachella last year, that was my first event without Instagram. I said, if I can go to Coachella without needing to post on Instagram, that is like, you've made it. And I
Wow.
was able to do
Okay.
it. And the big difference is before I would go to an event and immediately I would be like, shoot, how do I take a picture of this to show everyone how cool it is? Like that would really be my brain got trained to think that way. And then now I don't have Instagram. I went to Coachella and I just, like you said, living in the moment, I got to enjoy it. When I did record, it was just because I wanted to record for myself, but there was no more pressure to be like, you have to
Right.
get the perfect 5-second video to post so that everyone could see. So now I'm at Coachella, enjoying with my friends, enjoying the music, and I was having so much fun. And I'm like, wait, the fact that I didn't post it literally did not take away from my experience. And yeah, if anything,
Okay.
it gave me time to concentrate on it more. And then the second consequences of this is now I'm slowly training my brain now to like not care about what other people think because now there's no pressure to post. So now when I go to events, it's more about, do I want to go to this event? Am I actually having fun versus will this look cool? Like, does it look great that I'm on
Wow.
a Saturday night at a party?
Right.
Very, very, very powerful. I mean, to just kind of like you to connect with what your real intention, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
it's
think you
much.
said it's so good. It's like I think most people go to every event and then they have to document it and they have to post on the spot
Yep.
and
Yep.
then something and then you don't know how many projections of themselves they are going through. You know,
Mm.
like one in front of the people that they're with, and another one to take the photo.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, it's very interesting also because as artists, for us, we know we, on the other hand, are trying to connect with, expressing ourselves on the gram,
Creativity, yeah.
flexing on the gram, all the kind of stuff and everything that comes with it, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: those Coachella posts, right? How well did they do in your, like for you? Like, did you get as much engagement as your other
No,
posts?
so that's the thing. I ended up not. That's when I left Instagram. So no one on Instagram ever knew that I went to Coachella. And for me, it made me realize like all those people on Instagram, you don't even know half of them, right? Like some of them are from high school, some of them are a girl you met at a party who's watching your story every day. So going off social media made me realize who are the important people in my life, right? Like who do I actually care about? Who cares about me? Who cares about what I do? So for my cousins and my friends, I'll send them pictures of me at Coachella, but that's it. And that's
Right.
because
Okay.
I want them to see me, but I don't need to show off to 200 imaginary people because you're absolutely right. When you have social media and you're like really into it, it's like now you're leading two lives. It's like the real life with your eyes and then the life that you're curating online. So it's
Right.
exhausting. I would be so exhausted on vacation. Like I would go out on vacation every day doing the thing. And then when I got home, I had to spend an hour like editing the photos and posting the caption. And it looks
Okay.
effortless and it's not. So I think, yeah, being off of it just gave me more time to think about what I want to do with my life. And it gave me more like privacy. Because before, like, let's say I was on Instagram and I moved to Mexico City. Now I feel like I kind of have to explain to so many people. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you're in Mexico? Why?" Now I have to like, I subconsciously know I have to. I have like an audience it's like I'm not a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, why am I doing this, right? So now when I was off Instagram and I moved to Mexico City, it's so nice because my real friends in real life know why I'm moving here. I don't need to explain to anyone. It almost feels like you have more privacy to like explore life, make the mistakes that you need to make, have the fun experiences you need, but it's almost like not natural to have like 200 people watching your every day. And it was me. I was the one posting it. So I was putting that pressure on myself. And I feel like I'm very aware that some people don't have this issue. Like other people, maybe they're addicted to video games, but they're not addicted to posting on Instagram. So they have a different issue than me. I'm not saying like everyone needs to get off Instagram. It's evil. Like other people have very good regulation with Instagram. It was just I noticed in myself, I was getting a lot of validation from it. So yeah.
Right. I mean, that being aware of it at all, like I mean, some people don't even they don't even know that they are needing validation from Instagram and
that's
or even
very true.
connecting their real personality with the presentation personality, right? Yeah.
That's
So,
true.
So that's so cool. I mean, I got the impression that you actually just took a break for a while, but you haven't been back to Instagram since.
I'll come in like every 6 months just to check my messages because I have to tell people, babe, I'm not on here anymore. But yeah, every time I go back, okay, so I actually went back on February 15th by accident, and like boom, it was like couples everywhere, and I was like, oh my goodness. So I realized like I was totally on Valentine's Day. I was hanging out with my friends in Mexico. We went out to a bar, drank beer, did karaoke, and like I was super happy and content. I was not like, oh my god, I'm single. And then the next day, I went on Instagram for the first time in months. Boom. Like all these people posting themselves with their boyfriend, which is fine for them. But I realized like I did not need to see this. Like I don't need to see everyone's life. And like I was actually perfectly fine before it. So I could definitely see how Instagram stresses people out. Because like other people are like, okay, they're doing this. Should I be doing that in my life? Oh, they already got this job or they're going on that vacation. Even though we like to think that we're not susceptible, it's human nature. We're very susceptible to what are other people doing, right? So imagine you're going on Instagram like every day, looking at all the cool parties people are going to. Like at some point now, you're not thinking about what you want to do with your life. You're almost thinking, what should I be doing? So I think getting off Instagram, I almost feel like I have more control over my life. Like I feel like I'm the one deciding in my life, and I don't really care who sees it and who doesn't.
Wow, that's.
I mean, like it's seriously that kind of culture. You just feel like you're not good enough every time you look at something, and you might not even want that when you are not looking at it. It's actually like, wow, it's
right.
so important.
Yeah.
So now we're curious. I mean, us and also I guess the people watching, like about your daily routine. You know, like since you like other things that you do to kind of manage your attention or your focus each day, like.
That's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I allow myself like some social media. So, for example, I don't have Facebook on my phone because it has reels too. So I knew I had to get off of it. But I'll have it on my computer and I'll just like look through memes like during work meetings and stuff. Don't tell them. So I think little doses of here and there is fine. And for me, memes are not as damaging because it's not like, oh my god, everyone's watching me and like this is a photo of myself. It's literally just a meme to laugh at. So for me, that's like a little different. But yeah, I think the TikTok generation, I think we've all heard about like the decreasing attention span, right? Like people's attention spans are decreasing. And I kind of saw it on myself too, where like now it's harder to watch movies because I've watched so many 5-second TikToks where like they give you dopamine a lot faster. So I think, I think to manage it, you just have to be more intentional. It's very easy to pick up your phone. Like science says that when you pick up your phone, you've literally trained your brain to feel a little bit more relaxed. Like, okay, I'm going to get some dopamine off of this. So you have to be really intentional about like, wait a minute, I want to spend less time on my phone. And then like try to do other things like read books or like, I don't know, like talk to your friends. So I think just minimizing it, like you don't have to like be as dramatic as me and like take it fully out of your life, but at least just being more intentional, right? Don't let social media control you where you're like spending 8 hours a day on it. You control social media. So like, be intentional.
Yes. And in fact, now if you're gonna make a post and being your follower or your followers would be like, I guess even more interested in what you have to say, right? Because of the growth. Like I know I would be interested in your post.
Did you actually like put up a post saying that you are taking a break from Instagram?
No, I definitely would not be that person. And then, people ask me, "Are you going to delete your Instagram?"
Sorry, what did you say?
No worries. People asked, "Are you gonna like delete your Instagram?" And I was like, "No, I like love all my photos of when I was like 17 on it, so I'll keep it as like an archive because that's what Instagram was supposed to be in the first place, right? It was supposed to be an archive of your photos that you share with people.
Yeah.
So I'll keep it forever. Like it'll just like stay there. But yeah, it just feels like once you leave it, you're like, okay, it was like a fake world like that we built. And I think one day everyone's gonna leave Instagram too. Like like the fads always change with which app is the most popular. So like one day Facebook was the most popular, now no one's on it, everyone's on Instagram. So same thing's gonna
Right.
happen. Everyone's gonna get off Instagram and go somewhere else. So I'm not like
Mm.
worried about it. And honestly, no one's like been worried about me. It hasn't really affected my life. Like all my friends who are my friends literally just message me on Facebook or message me on like text. And then all the other people didn't really notice I was gone, or if they did, we're not close enough to care.
So it's been a year, right, that you've
Mhm.
taken this break.
That's crazy.
No plans to come back on to Instagram, right?
No, I already spent enough time on my phone, like on YouTube.
Right. Well, I'm very interested to check out your Instagram though. Like,
Yes.
since you
Yeah, I'll
have
give it to you. You
Yes.
you when you go on it, you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's so curated. Like I had to have like the perfect full body picture or like the perfect caption. And actually
really, I
now,
would love to
But
check
you know
it out.
something, because us here on this show, right? We're artists, right? And in fact, artist talk is the stuff that is most interesting to us. And these things that you're saying, this journey that you're on, the way we look at it, right? The way I see it, it's the path of an artist. You're trying to find some truth, right? Like the usual thing is not really doing it for you. And you're trying to find a genuine voice. And I believe that, as artists, that's kind of what we're on, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the even the break that you're taking and everything, it's very real artists. We always have this conversation about like hipster or real artists.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's that.
yeah. But basically, when you taking the break and then connecting with your real voice, it's
The
all
real
like
voice.
part of living very consciously. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that? Like, I know you mentioned it hasn't really changed much, this break from Instagram. But do you see any change at all, like in terms of your interaction with people and stuff?
yeah, no, I think that's such a good point. For example, like when I used to go on vacation, I always saw pictures on Instagram of girls in Europe in the streets, and it's like a full body
Right.
picture of them on the street, and you're like, wow, she's in Croatia or she's in London. So when I went on vacation, I always wanted that photo of me, like the quintessential Jennifer's on the street, right? And then it was
Right.
like it's like you said, there's a whole background behind it. You got to get your friend to take the picture. The angle doesn't look good. The shadows don't look good. So it was really stressful. And so now I notice that like when I go, for example, when I came to Mexico, I was just telling Celestine like I don't have that many pictures of myself like full body because every time I've gone out, we're just talking to the person that I'm with, or I'm like really experiencing where I'm at, or I took a picture of the street because it's pretty.
Mm.
But like now, no longer is there that pressure. Like
No,
I need
it's
to get
not.
a picture of me to show off to people. Like it's just like there's no more pressure. So it almost feels like you're changing your POV because like when you do that, you're constantly thinking from the
Yeah.
POV of your audience. Now you're like almost like a movie producer. Like, what are they gonna
Yeah.
see of me? And instead of that, I've shifted it to my
Yo,
perspective. What do I
yeah.
want to see in my life? And you're right.
Yeah.
I think that's had a ripple effect where not only am I more intentional about things and being off social media, in my opinion, it gave me less noise. So social media, if you're scrolling every day, it's like people are like, you should do this, you should buy this product. Hey, I'm at this event. Blah, blah, blah. It's like a lot of noise, like people like literally voices in your head. But once you
Mhm.
stop it, I felt like I had more silence and more freedom and like more almost
Right.
like boredom. And in that silence and boredom, I feel like that's when you need to think about what do you want to do with your life? What kind of person are you going to be? How do you want your next 6 months to go? And if
Wow.
so, how are you going to get there? So for me, I always say like that's how I even got to Mexico City. If I was still, distracted and like still listening to what other people were saying, I don't think I would be here because to come to Mexico, it was like a lot of intention, right? I had to make a big decision. I had to figure out my finances, figure out all the logistics of moving here. And then also I had to think about emotionally, like how is this gonna play a role in my life? Like how is this? I'm 26. How is this gonna affect like my year moving here? So I think being
Mhm.
off my favorite thing of being off social media is it gave me more privacy to think about myself.
Right. I think the important thing that you mentioned is the boredom part, because when you reach there and then you persist, because that's the meditative spot, like the only voice is your own,
Yeah,
and then you can actually hear yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, and then,
completely.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you're from a generation that is definitely very very deep in the social media game. So you grew up with this extra noise, like what you said, and it's noise with other people, what they think of you, an additional element. I mean, even when we don't have social media, we are already thinking that like, oh, what do they think of me? You know, we always have that as human
Yeah.
beings, right?
Yes.
That's the extra layer with social media that is pressure.
Yeah.
Like what you said.
There's this description of it as being a kind of a NPC kind of behavior. I mean, it's similar to the behavior you get when you're scrolling, yeah, and small
Mhm.
talk when you meet someone, and sometimes the questions that we ask each other are just like automatic nonsense, you know? Like, okay, maybe post Super Bowl, everyone's gonna talk about the thing that everybody's talking about, so people keep talking about it more, you know? And then
Mhm.
it's like, why you're not even interested in that? You're just feeling the emptiness with some sounds, you know?
Yeah. I
And
think you guys brought a
yeah,
good point about generation. Like you and me, we're kind of the last generation that remember a childhood without social media. Like we actually, I know it's so cliche to say, but like when we played outside, it's because like Celestine said, we were dead ass bored. We had nothing else to do, so we go play with the other kids. And you're right. I feel
yeah,
like the social media and like internet gives now people could just be by themselves in that noise. So it's kind of sad to think that like in the 1800s, people like literally live their lives in real life without this, and now we can't really
yeah,
escape it. And I think
I
it is
think
up to
I'm gonna
us.
say,
We
I
have
think
to
I'm
be.
gonna say the opposite. That's so sad. The babies nowadays, they're growing up like completely stuck on the screen. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
both
they
That's
we
are.
got
both situations are set. You know?
we got the best of both worlds. We got the experience, the
Yeah.
whole
Exactly. It's
So
not
it
like
goes back
people.
to your point again. Yeah. Sorry to cut
Sorry.
you off, but
No.
the point that you were making about regaining control, right? Like
Mm,
you gotta use Instagram, not the other way around, right? And these pressures that you're talking about, and I think it's a very interesting thing because like I guess you feel this in every walk of life, in everything that you even try and do, right? You it's a battle between your voice, right,
mm,
and the voice of others,
yeah.
right?
Wow, yeah. Nicely put.
We're getting deep here today
that was
in this
Yeah.
deep.
for sure,
Conversation with you, Jennifer.
but it's great. We love these topics, and yes, so glad to have you on the show talking about this thing.
Right, and
Thank
bringing
Yeah,
it back to the Mexican experience, right? Like, so not having social media, and in Mexico, like I'm sure there are like times like when you're a coach, like you feel like this would be actually nice to share, and in a positive way, even like not just like if it's to show off, which is like so much of the thing going on Instagram.
well, let's break it down. Okay, so you're at Coachella, and in the normal sense, when someone is you see Justin Bieber or someone on stage, Taylor Swift, right? Or Usher, right? And when
Mhm.
you're recording him, right? Most of the time, I mean, I guess it would be safe to say the person recording the celebrity or the act on stage, they're trying to, what are they trying to do? They're trying to post that video on their social media and say, I was here, firstly. And I
Mhm.
guess another thing they're trying to do is kind of ride that wave of like attention, right? Like,
Mhm.
hey, I was there, look,
Yeah.
I'm beside Usher, look, check this out. Look at me, right? It's a look at me kind of thing. And
Yeah.
the thing that you're talking about is like having a voice or something and trying to say something, right? So there's a bit of a gap, right? I guess, what do you think about that? Like people who posting and actually trying to say something, I guess worth listening to, right?
Yeah, social media, like, definitely, it's not like it's all evil. Of course, it has like its really, really good functions. Like, for example, I just saw on Facebook this lady posted a picture of her as a child with another friend and was like, "Can someone help me find this person?" And then the internet found her. So that's pretty cool, right? But I agree with you. Like, if you go to a concert, that's what I used to post for too. Look how close I am to the artist. Like, it's almost like now you're not even living for yourself. You're literally living for the attention. And then if you think about it, like as children, like the kids growing up with social media between the ages of like 10 and like 25, that's like your most formative years, right? Those are the years that your brain is not fully developed and your brain is learning about the world. And how do we learn about the world? We learn it from watching other people, right? And if now we can share everything on social media, they're getting, like you said, all these influences, all these voices from around the world. And that's crazy because those are their formative years. So I feel like, let's say in 1970, when they didn't have that, like you were like, you listen to your mom, you learn about from people around you in your school, you learn from books, you learn from living life. But now these kids, instead of like living life, I feel like they just can go on the internet and it almost replicates in your brain. It tricks your brain into thinking you're living real life. You're actually not, right? But visually, your brain sees a picture of like travel. It kind of tricks your brain into thinking you are living life. So yeah, it's a little sad. Like I think we have to be very aware. And then also the whole like, if you go on the internet, all the memes are all very like sexual, which is not a bad thing. Like as an adult, we find the sex jokes funny, right? But imagine if you're 11 years old and you're like, they're all over Twitter, all over YouTube, everywhere. To me, that scares me too, because now their mind is like, again, that's what they're absorbing. That's what they think normal life is. All these jokes about all these like nasty things. So I mean, I sound like really boomer right now, but it's like they kind of have a good point. Like now that I've experienced social media as an 11-year-old and I'm kind of getting out of it, I can kind of see the effects.
Right. Yeah. And so how's it been in Mexico? Like, like, you have been here 6 months?
No, I've been here for 2 months, or almost 2 months.
Two.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. When we first met, you actually told me it was like a month less or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you were like one of the first like parties I went to actually.
Oh, how cool.
The second one, yeah. I think here, I think because I've had a year of practicing like not posting, it's not been too hard. So now when I go to like, for example, like Xochimilco, I had so many great photos. I honestly just sent it to my friends and family and they loved it. They were like, oh my God, Jen's having fun. That's awesome. So I get the best of both worlds. I get to have the pretty pictures, send it to my family and friends, but also like without the pressure.
Right. Without this, like, you're posting just for extra attention, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So and you've been to like Xochimilco, and where else were these like Instagram worthy places?
I remember seeing a lot of like Instagram photos of like Roma and Condesa, and I feel like I just take the pictures for myself. I've just gone to like downtown Central, Chapultepec, but honestly, I haven't really like gone to the pyramids or other places yet because I'm kind of waiting for some family to visit so we can go. So far, I feel like I've been enjoying just like the daily life and just like walking to the coffee shop for me is like already like it's kind of why I came here, for the little things, right?
Yeah, if you're not taking photos all the time or like feeling the pressure of taking photos, you can really just be present, and it's like a whole different experience altogether, right? Like you are feeling the place more, and your mind is not so activated, like thinking and
Indeed. I read a story where this guy like wanted to record the birth of his baby. So when his wife gave birth, he was busy recording it. And then later he said he regretted it because he was like, by recording it, I actually missed the experience. Like he literally could have seen it with his eyes. Yeah, because people think that when they record, they're still experiencing it. But the truth is the human brain can't concentrate on too many things at once. So if you're doing this, you really are concentrating on getting the perfect angle. Right. And then later the song's over and you're like, okay, I kind of missed it. Yeah, you can watch it later on your phone, but you kind of missed it when he's saying it.
Kind of missed the moment. Yeah.
So what's the point of being there, right there, and then you are taking a video and watching it later?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a bit about what made you decide to come to Mexico in the first place, and maybe how that tied into this journey of focusing yourself.
Yeah, I want to know that as well.
That's a good question. So I went to school in the East Coast, graduated about like 3 years ago, and then I came back to California, and like because of the pandemic, like everyone kind of moved back with their parents, so I did the same thing. And then I found a remote job. I wasn't really looking for a remote job. I just happened to get one. So pandemic like really changed my life. Like I think when we all left to college, we all assumed we're never gonna live back at home again. We're like, bye mom, like we all left. And then with the pandemic, everyone's like back with their parents, including myself. So it was really like a plot twist. Because without COVID, who knows if my job would have been remote or in person. So I probably wouldn't have been home. So now here I am, like person who graduated. And like when you graduate college, that's kind of supposed to be the time you like go out into the world and explore yourself. You go to a new city. So that's kind of what I always thought I would do in my life. But I found myself back at home with my mom. And in a way, it was a good thing because I'm from California. I went to school in Rhode Island. So I was really far away from home for like many years. So it was such a great time to like reconnect with my mom, reconnect with my family, and like reconnect with my city, but like as an adult. But a part of me also knew like, you're kind of like inadvertently regressing back to childhood because I'm literally in my childhood bed. I'm literally living with my grandma. She's making me food, and I'm literally by working remotely, I felt like I was in the room all day. So the years passed. It was like 1 or 2 years, and I was like, "Oh my god, I could spend my whole 20s here, and that's not good." So, and that's fine if other people want to do it. I just knew for me, I'm like, I have so much energy. I want to go out and explore the world, and I can't really do that from home. So yeah, from there, I was like, okay, I have a remote job. I always love to travel, so I really wanted to. Like I studied abroad in Spain back in college. So for me, I always wish I could like live in another country again. Like for me, I realized like living in a country is really different from just visiting for 4 days. People think they know the city. It's like you saw the touristy parts, but like living in a city, you get to like talk to people at the cafe, make new friends. So yeah, that's kind of why I came to Mexico, because I was like, let me take advantage of this remoteness. I already speak some Spanish. Mexico is like kind of similar reasons as everyone else. It's in like the similar time zone. And then I heard so many great things about Mexico City, like how beautiful it is, and like people just love the city and it's like safe. So yeah, that's why I came. But it's like been amazing so far. I think the only regret I have is like the more I learn about like the gentrification that's happening here and the really bad effects, like it just makes me like sadder. So like some of my friends are like, you should live here longer, and I'm like, I think I might go back like later this year just because I don't want to like keep contributing to it. It's like sad once you see it. Yeah.
Like I really don't want to touch too much on this topic because it's so sensitive. But like in Singapore, I consider it super gentrified, and we are very used to it. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's really interesting.
Yeah. So, but anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hot topic.
Hot topic. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, basically, like I think that like I wanted to say, like when you mentioned that you thought Mexico City was safe, like that's so you had the impression that this was a good place to live, basically.
Yeah, I always knew I would only be here for a couple months, so it was never like serious, like, oh, I'm gonna settle down here and stuff. So I think that's kind of why Mexico City became such a hot place, is because of the internet. Like I remember after the pandemic, everyone started posting like, wow, it's really pretty here. I would literally see pictures of Roma and Condesa, and I'm like, wow, that's so pretty. And then I think all the Americans would just chatter online like, oh, you should move here. So unfortunately, I don't want to touch back on that topic, but unfortunately, I do think that's how gentrification became such a big thing. But because of the internet, like I don't think without social media, I don't think all of us would be here because that's a whole remote job.
Yeah. Like that's what I was going to get to, but like after the pandemic, like Mexico City, like in fact there are articles on it, like it became like the place to be, like, and like I mean that's something we really love, like about big cities. Like we love like back home how international it is. Like you can get all the experiences you want, and you can meet everybody from all over the world. In Singapore, like Shanghai is also like that right now. There are a lot of places in the world that are like that, and when you think of a big city, that is what you want to experience, and like Mexico City becoming like that was really amazing for us.
Yes.
So yeah, we actually love that. Yeah, but of course there are issues with gentrification.
Yeah, and also not to mention the international vibes that you get here. And people describe it as there's this feeling that there's always something happening. Every night you get this feeling that there's something to do, there's a party to go to, there's something that you can actually engage in. What about you? Like, what's different here? Or what do you feel is kind of different here compared to back home?
I think you make such a great point about how international city is. That's definitely something to me that stands out. So, for example, I have a cousin that lives in LA and like friends that live in New York. So I've heard about their experiences, and these are all big cities, right? Like LA, New York, Mexico City. But yeah, the difference is like immediately coming here. You're right. There's a vibe of everyone wants to meet new people. All these people are young. All these people are really energetic, and you're right. There's always something going on. So I've never like had so many invites in my life. Whereas like in LA,
Very fun.
people are very like, I already have my own friends, and like they're
Oh,
people I grew up with or people I knew from school or people I
Right.
know from social media. And same with New York. It's not like you go to a bar and you meet random people. Or maybe they do, but like at least for my friends it wasn't like that. So I
yeah.
think Mexico City is super special that people like want, because everyone was asking me that. They're like, how are you making so many friends already? And I'm like, first of all, I don't have that many friends, but people are like, I try to tell them like it's because everyone just is so open. Like you go to
Yeah.
one event,
Yes, yeah,
people invite you to the next event. Like no one's like gatekeeping, like, oh, you're not cool enough
yeah,
to go. Everyone's like, come, the more people, the more fun. So I really
yeah.
love that.
Yeah, the energy here is definitely like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and Mexico itself, the people are like that. You know, the
Hmm.
locals, the foreigners here, they are
Yes.
super open as
The
well.
combination of all those things, people you just have this feeling of like you said, come to the next one, an open invitation kind of thing. Like for
Yeah.
us also, like doing events here or the jams that we've been organizing and the kind of get-togethers. Firstly, they kind of happen naturally, It's like a lot of them are not really, planned so much, just kind of like things that kind of come together.
Yeah, it's Mexican
Mm.
style situation, like
Yeah,
the flow, like I mean something we like you feel like you can get surprised and like the
Spontaneous.
parties are usually the best. Yeah, it's actually
yes, but in those live shows that we do organize, the vibe is always like we always see in a way kind of like new people. So like there's always this change, this flow, of incoming people,
right.
and they're like, hey, this person. Oh yeah, like how do you guys know each other? Like parties, friends of friends, that kind of thing. And
Totally.
yeah, I mean, back home for us in Singapore, you do get this vibe, but I would say here in Mexico, you get it all day, every day. It's very strong that
Yeah.
vibe of a kind of like something happening, and yeah, let's just
Yeah,
get
very
together,
fun place to be, like what I'm saying.
fun. Yeah.
But Jennifer, like, so since we have like only maybe 5 minutes or so left, like
Mhm.
definitely I want to ask you about your dating experience since you told me
All right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
told me there's no like you're also taking a break from that, right? Like it's been a year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been more than a year and a
So
month.
you're in Mexico, you're in a new country, and you're not dating. Like most people they are on Tinder, Bumble.
Yeah. So
You're
for
doing it.
me,
You're doing it like live kind of thing. Like you're trying to meet people. Like,
No, no, no.
yeah.
She's not. She's not even dating. She said
oh, okay,
like
okay. So what do you
Yeah.
tell us about? Tell us about that.
purposely.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I am open to it. Like, if it happens, I'm not like, oh my god,
You
I'm
meet
like
the right
off.
one.
But this is kind of very quickly how it happened. I basically went through a really bad breakup 2 years ago, like really, really bad. And I don't even know if it counts as a breakup, but it was more like a situationship, which is even worse because then you feel like you don't have
Okay.
closure. So basically, me and this guy were like, acting like a couple, but in the end, he didn't want to date me and I wanted to date him. So I realized like I thought after that I would just find another guy, move on, because I was really like young and naive. I didn't really know how things work, but I realized I was so heartbroken and for so long. So that's what it really triggered me. Like a year later, I was like, okay, dude, you're not going to get happy just by time passing. You actually need to do work on yourself and you need to be intentional. So I got kind of scared. I was like, oh my God, I'm like normally a happy person. Why am I so sad? And I was sad for a long time. So I realized that event made me feel very rejected and it made me feel all the worst things about myself. So it made me realize this is not just a journey of getting over a guy. This is a journey
Mhm.
of my own self-esteem. Like I did not have a good self-esteem, which is why I got into that situation in the beginning. Like that's why I even let someone treat me like that, right? So I had to really take a good look
Yeah.
at myself. Like, what kind of person am I that I like kind of agreed with him, that I let him do all these things to me, that I didn't like stand up for myself, like, right? So that's where I was like, okay, I need to take a break from dating because I realized I was using dating as a distraction from actually working on myself. Like, again, what she was saying about boredom, silence and boredom, people don't like because that's when you have to start thinking about yourself. That's when all your demons come out. Everything you don't like about yourself comes out. So you're right. It was a brave thing. I took a break from dating because I need to shut off that noise. Because when you go on dates, it is a distraction. You're like busy texting him. You're getting, again, dopamine from the guy texting you. So I stopped that. And it was like, again, yeah, like the first time in my life I had really like stopped it intentionally. And then I took a year to really focus on myself. And at first it was hard. Like at first I was like, oh, I miss it. But after a while, it's like withdrawals. You kind of get over the withdrawals. And then after that silence and that combined with the silence of social media, it really helped me think about things. And so now a year later, I'm like the happiest I've been since that breakup. I am a lot more confident. I feel like I know myself better. And people are like, oh, how do you get to know yourself better? It's through experience. Like you need to overcome a challenge. And that proves to your own brain and yourself that, hey, I can actually get through this. I'm actually really strong. I'm actually really smart, X, Y, Z. But you can only do that if you're like experiencing life intentionally. So yeah, that year I just really worked in myself, and then it led me to Mexico City. So now a year later, I do feel a lot less heartbroken. I feel a lot better, and I feel more confident because I get my goal was I did not want to date when I was still feeling insecure because that'll lead to the same issue. So yeah, now that I'm in Mexico City, I will admit, like the first 2 weeks, I was kind of lonely because I was still getting to know people. So I was considering going on like dates, but then a part of me was like, why don't I just use that energy instead to find friends? And so you're absolutely right. I haven't gone on any dates. And instead, that's forced me to like make new friends, go to parties, meet people. And I've been having so much fun. And it makes you realize like, yeah, boyfriends and romantic relationships are great, but it's not the only love you can have in your life. So I feel so full in my own life without it. And if it comes, that's great. Like I definitely want a family one day. I'm not like against it, but like I'm not forcing myself and I'm not pressuring myself anymore and I'm not rushing it.
Right. So right now you're not like putting yourself out there, like getting a guy, but it naturally happens and you organically meet someone that you click with and you are open to it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if I met someone and like we just really click, that's perfectly fine. I think my being off social media and also that heartbreak, and maybe we take a look at dating apps in a different way. Where like dating apps is similar to social media. You're creating a profile, you're creating yourself, and then you meet one person. But like I notice people on the apps are not like intentional. They don't really know what they want. So it's kind of like it's more difficult in my opinion. I'm not saying I'll never use it again, but at least right now I'm like, hey, just like do your own thing and like meet people, build your own personality. If you don't have a good personality, you don't have character, if you're not an interesting person, your life's not full, like why would someone want to date you, right? So like for
That's
me,
a really interesting point. Yes.
Yeah.
so I'm gonna just like focus on my own life, and in the end I'm having fun, right? And if someone wants to join that fun later, yeah, they can, but like
Yeah, and get yourself whole first, right? Like you say, I mean, I guess you see a lot of people who date or people who even make friends and stuff. They're kind of doing it for the wrong reasons, right? To kind of fill a void or something
yeah,
without working on themselves first, right? That's
exactly.
these things that you're talking about are really really powerful and
Yeah, very, very
very
powerful
important.
stuff that you're talking
Thanks
about.
guys.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, we about to wrap up here. Why don't you give us the last?
Like some advice,
Yeah.
like for other people who are struggling with this addictiveness to social
Yeah,
media, especially to the
yeah.
foreigners that are here.
Yes, or for people who feel that if they take this direction, what if I'm losing out on something, or what if I'm not plugged into the scene, things like that. What would you say to people like that?
Yeah, I think everything you spend time with in your day, like social media or dating apps or whatever, I think you just have to be very clear about like why are you doing it, and like really like take a good look at yourself. Because kind of like Isaac said, if you're really looking at yourself, are you trying to fill a void? And if that's your motive for dating, it's gonna end badly because you're trying to fill a void. You're gonna hurt people. You're gonna get hurt. So I think if as long as you do things with like I know why I'm doing this and my intentions, and it's gonna help me out in the long run and it's healthy, I think that's the way to go. So if you know you're using social media in a way that's healthy with yourself and it's not hurting you mentally and you're not trying to get validation, but you have to be really honest with yourself. Like, am I really getting validation from this? And if
Yeah.
so, why did I need this validation? Like, why am I not able to provide that validation to myself? So I think the biggest advice I can say is just in life, unfortunately, like, not that we're alone, but you're like the only person that can take care of yourself. You can't depend on social media. You can't depend on a career to make you happy. You can't depend on another person to make you happy. Even your family, you can't depend on other people to make you happy completely. So you have to build that foundation within yourself. And once you can give yourself that happiness, now you can now you will pursue everything else with good intentions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can get back on social media and do it your way, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think we
Yes.
have reached the end of our show.
Yes,
So-
thank you for those gems and
Yeah, what a good episode we had today.
yes, for sure.
Thank you
So-
so much. It's been so fun.
Thank you.
I'm Celestine Angel,
I'm Isaac Rakesh.
and we have Jennifer Lee with us, and we're signing out.
Peace.
Your ears. Activating your
Bye.
senses.
Thank you to all who joined us here on That Foreign Show. It's been awesome. I'm Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend.